Hi, my name is Chase Johnson Lynch and welcome to my journey. I'm here on Colors, City of Liverpool online radio station. And here in the studio with me today is Donna Kassim. And for those who've seen the previous video of the Remembrance Sunday, where we had recognized the black seamen and the memorial that is placed in Falkner Gardens. And I attended that on Sunday, and I decided to ask Donna if she could come into the studio here and tell us a little bit more about the situation around the War Memorial and what is happening. So first of all, thank you for joining me here in the studio.
Chase, thank you for inviting me today.
Well, no, you're very welcome and stuff. So, I mean, as we said, you know, there was Remembrance Sunday, and this is something that has been going on for some time, in particular with this War Memorial that is in Falkner Gardens, that you've been a part of with a small contingent of the local community in LA. Can you just tell us a little bit more about the War Memorial that is there and what brought you to it, your attention, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, mine was a personal interaction with the memorial. I knew about the memorial and I knew it was initiated back in 1993 by a local community activist called Joe Farag, who was very active in getting the memorial set up in Falkner Gardens. So I was aware of the memorial, but I'd forgotten about the memorial, which is awful really when you think about it. But anyway, I then read a book, scouring through a book called Walk Through History Liverpool by a guy called David Lewis.
Yeah.
And came to a section of the book which talked a little bit about Falkner Square and about the area, and mentioned the Merchant Seamen's Memorial, and then obviously it triggered that. Can
you read that quote? Because I mean, I was intrigued by it myself when you read it.
And I was intrigued obviously when I first saw this. It talks about the area and how you know, how wonderful and beautiful it is. And then it says that the park has recently been restored and refurbished, the paths restored and benches smartened up. And then it said it also has a small monument to the black merchant seamen who died during World War II, a long way from the other nautical monuments at the pier head, but maybe more at home here near the city's black community. So obviously for me it was like, all right, I need to go and find this memorial again. And that sort of quote as well in the book made me think, that was a bit strange. Somebody to say that. It's sort of like loaded.
Should be there and should not be there. Yeah.
It's a long way from the other nautical monuments, but maybe it's best there, near to the city's black community. So that was my driver then to go and find the memorial.
So when you found the memorial, tell us about the state that it was in.
Okay, I got to Falkner Gardens. It was late 2007, and I searched Falkner Gardens for the memorial, and I couldn't locate the memorial. It wasn't visible at all.
And the garden's not that big?
The garden's not that big.
No.
There's a notice board within the gardens. I looked on the notice board to see if it showed me any position of where the memorial would be, and it didn't. So I wandered round and eventually I saw this stone and I thought, oh, so I sort of pulled the trees and everything back, and there was the memorial covered by bushes and trees. Wow.
So obviously, you know, it's overgrown, it's been there for some time, and can you tell me like what you guys had to do to get it to the state where it is now?
Okay, so yeah, it was overgrown, obviously. I don't know how long it had been like that, but I was assuming it had been for some time. It was in a poor state, couldn't practically read. The plaque was covered, the stone was covered, it was mossed, so it was in really poor condition. So I came back the next week and trimmed away some of the trees, but it was just too overgrown. Contacted the local authority, the council, told them that there was a memorial there, it's covered, the area needs to be cleared, and they came out and they cleared the area, but of course the memorial was in a bit of a bad state. So I then made contact with the War Memorials Trust in London and applied for a grant to have the stone and the plaque restored. and also via my trade union, which at the time was the Transport and General Workers Union. It's now Unite. Raised funds through the union branches for the £1,300, I think it was, to have the stone cleaned. So we raised that money and we appointed stonemasons, and they come and they cleaned it and restored the plaque.
Well, first of all, can I just say, well done. I mean, just like the power of positive thinking, or just doing what you felt needed to be done as a citizen, you know, as someone who wanted to honor her family legacy as much as the community legacy. Well done for you for actually going through all of that effort.
Thanks,
and I mean, obviously not alone, but somebody has to like step forward. And I think this is what's great about this story is that, you know, despite like, you know, what job you had, you just did it because you felt the love and the need to actually do it.
It wasn't done as you know, it was done by me as an individual who had, my father was a merchant seaman, so obviously I had an affinity in terms of you know, the legacy of seamen, and it was just me saying this isn't right, and we need to do something about it. And you know, it wasn't a big campaign or anything like that. I just decided this is what I'm going to do, and that's what I did, and used to visit on a regular basis every Remembrance Sunday and just personally lay my poppy wreath there.
And as you said, I mean, you know, there was only a few people that would attend each year, but at present, this Memorial Sunday, as we said, had filmed it, you yourself seem to be surprised at how this is gaining traction and everything. So tell me about your feeling, because you mentioned it on the day, but about your feeling of seeing that you weren't alone in it.
Yeah, I mean, I was overwhelmed by the turnouts, and obviously social media helps. You know, it was on Facebook, but over the years, since 2007, since I started to attend the memorial, there's been a small contingency of people who regularly turned up, people from the community, and it would maybe be 4, 5, 6 at the most. So it was quite overwhelming to see the turnout and on Sunday, and the interest by people to say, well, yes, this is ours, this belongs to us, this recognises the you know, the contributions that that our forefathers have made. And I was quite emotional, to be honest with you, so it was really good. And I thought, seeing that, it sort of has made me realise that there's a lot more work to be done.
Exactly. So let's talk about that. Like on a day, you were mentioning what you feel and some people feel should happen from here. Mostly you were talking about creating a replica stone. Can you tell us a bit about that and what moves did you make towards that?
Yeah, I mean, I think a replica of the memorial needs to be positioned down with the other nautical monuments that are very grand, and rightly so, down at the pier head. And I think it's important. We have lots of visitors to Liverpool that, you know, maybe not all of them will be able to get up to Falkner Gardens.
No.
You know, some of them will want to wander around, you know, the Docklands area and stuff like that. So I think it's really important that we have something that recognises our contribution, that is actually physically seen down there. So I think that's really important. I think it's also important that we maintain that presence of the memorial in our community, because that is our history as well, and that needs to be maintained. So that's really important too. At the moment, I've not really done anything in terms of driving that through with any of the powers that be, whether it be the council. What I don't want to happen is that the community lose ownership of that campaign. If there is a campaign that can come from this, then it needs to be community driven, because it's our monument, it's our history, it's our legacy, it's our story, and we need to drive it.
Well, can I say something about that? Is like because what I thought was interesting is that one of the people, or a couple of people, were saying that, like, well, it should be bigger.
Yes.
Right, and maybe put onto a plinth, and that plinth could be on Princess Avenue. where the original what was it, Willie Ruskinson statue was.
Yeah.
And we had like Louis Julian in here, who's also a supporter, and he was telling us a story about how young people had pulled the Ruskinson statue down during the uprising.
Yeah.
And so now the plinth is still there, but there's nothing on it. So it seemed like a good full circle is something to this memorial could have been placed on it. What do you think about that?
I think that would be really amazing. I really do. You know, I think there was a reason why it was positioned in Falkner Gardens, because it was in the locality. The local Seamen's mission was in the area.
Yes, that's right.
And that was the significance of having it there. You know, but yes, that sounds. And again, I think the community have got to drive it. And if the community think, well, yeah, we want to see it there on Princess Avenue, you know, visible for everybody driving through the area into the city, then so be it. And what we don't want is the powers that be, or, you know, or the councils to sort of take ownership and decide what happens. I think we need now to decide what happens.
Yeah.
And I think it's about time that Liverpool recognised the memorial, recognised the contribution. I mean, if you look around the country, particularly London, you know, this year there was a massive, you know, memorial that was opened and laid out there in Brixton that recognised the contribution. It was unveiled, I think, in June 2017, that recognised the contribution of black merchant seamen during the World Wars. And I think it's something that, you know, Liverpool, we need to drive that.
Excellent. I mean, you said that you haven't like actually launched this campaign as of yet, but it's something that you would like to do, that you would like to be community driven to create a legacy. Can you just in final talk about your vision of what that would look like?
Again, I mean, you know, this isn't about a Donna Kassim campaign for the Merchant Seamen's Memorial. This is just an individual who's been born and bred in the community, who rediscovered the memorial. And I'm ashamed to say that, because it's something that we should always remember. But I rediscovered the memorial. It was a personal journey and a personal interaction for me with the memorial. It was never anything that was driven by what I do, or to run any sort of campaign. But I think what I'd like to see is community engagement, and it appears from Sunday that we've got that. You know, people were really interested in trying to do something. So it might be an idea for us to, again, to use the social media that we can, in terms of Facebook and tweeting and stuff like that, in terms of highlighting the campaign. It's going to take a lot of work. It's going to be a lot of work, and it can't just be put onto one individual. Again, it has to be driven by the community. I'm more than happy to support it any which way I can. I've spoken to the War Memorials Trust this morning, who are more than happy to assist us. They have a campaigns officer and a fundraising officer. They're more than happy to assist any campaign that we run as a community. In fact, they embrace that and say that is how they want to see the war memorials. Yeah. That they're driven by their local communities.
And also, Joe Farraga said that on Sunday, that he talked to somebody, Vesey, I believe, who also said that they want something happening. So maybe, you know, what we could just say here is that, you know, tell people where we can find this Black Seamen page on Facebook.
Okay, yeah, it's called the Black Merchant Seamen's War Memorial. It's on Facebook, and you have a look. It just gives some information about the Remembrance Day celebrations that we had on Sunday. We will be growing that page to talk about the campaign a little bit more, and what assistance that we can get from other agencies, and how you can get involved. Really, we want the community to get involved, and hopefully when this is updated again, this book.
Oh yeah, show the book.
When this book is updated again, hopefully it will say a lot more about the memorial, and show that there is something down with all of the other nautical memorials down at the pier head, as well as maintaining that connection and that personal connection with our community in terms of the memorial in Falkner Square.
Well, you know, Donna, I want to thank you for your time and coming here and speaking with us and giving us a little bit more clarity on the Remembrance Sunday event that we attended. And also, I just want to remind people, this book, Walks Through History, Liverpool by David Lewis. You know, we give him a shout out for inspiring Donna, you know, to step out of herself and into her power, you know. And I mean, well done, because it's amazing that what you have done to this point. And hopefully, like you said, if you can launch it into something that becomes much more of a community campaign around legacy, well done on that as well. And also well done to all the others that have been involved, of course, in this project. As Donna likes to say, it's not just her, you know. So, you know, like from Joe Farah, definitely, you know, who you see in the video as a strong supporter of this project.
Yeah. Joe Farrig's always been there, and obviously it was him that initiated the memorial. He's always been there to support it, as have a lot of other people in the community. Louis Julien being one of them, Tony Excel being another, Tracy Hilton. You know, there are so many names of people that have been really supportive and have turned up every year, even though it's just been us.
Yeah.
You know, we've stood and we've had a chat.
So you got an extended family now.
Yeah, so, you know, it's all good, isn't it? You know, it's all good.
Well, thank you again for coming into the studio. My name is Chase, and this has been my journey with Donna Kassim, and you've been watching us here on Colors, City of Liverpool online radio station, where we stream live from the community for the community. Like that? I love it. Thank you. Color.